Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in putting your hands together to welcome our guest of honor for this morning, Mr. Chee Hong Tat, Minister for Transport and Second Minister for Finance. Good morning, sir. And thank you so much for joining us on this milestone event for the launch ceremony of Singapore Maritime Week 2024.
Today, the global maritime community is unified and fueled by a common ambition. An ambition towards a greener, more sustainable and resilient maritime future, driven by digitalization, decarbonization and talent development. At this year's Singapore Maritime Week, we showcase how actions meet ambition, advancing digitalization to enhance operational efficiencies and contribute to decarbonization. Transiting to cleaner fuels, investing in bunkering facilities and greener ships. Working closely with governments, industry, unions and like-minded partners to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. Equipping our maritime workforce with new skills and continuing to develop the talent pipeline to support industry transformation. The Singapore Maritime Week brings together the ecosystem, from shipping to maritime technology, services and institutions for thought-provoking discussions and showcase of new technologies. With concrete actions and a common ambition, we can support one another and chart the course to a more efficient and sustainable maritime future.
Good morning, Mr. Chee Hong Tat, Minister for Transport and Second Minister for Finance. Dr. Amy Khor, Senior Minister of State for Transport and Senior Minister of State for Sustainability and the Environment. Dr. Volker Wissing, Vice Federal Minister of Digital Affairs and Transport of Germany. Mr. Fu Xuyun, Vice Minister of the Ministry of Transport of the People's Republic of China. Mr. Evan Tronstad Sakabakken, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and Fisheries, Norway. Mr. Arsenio Dominguez, Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization. Mr. Francis Zachariah, Secretary General of the International Association of Marine Aids to Navigation and Lighthouse Authorities. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the 18th edition of Singapore Maritime Week, and thank you for choosing to be here this morning. Organized by the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, SMW is an annual flagship event that brings together global maritime leaders, industry captains, and research communities from all around the world to discuss key issues, latest trends, and opportunities that face the industry today and tomorrow. This year's theme is Action Meets Ambition. It is a reflection of our collective desire for a higher ambition when it comes to decarbonization and digitalization in the maritime sector. We hope you will gain insights and engage in meaningful conversations this week from high-level thought leaders, experts, and businesses at the various dedicated conference tracks on decarbonization efforts, digital innovation, cybersecurity, low-carbon fuel options, and green shipping corridors, as well as developments in the maritime services to provide evolving business needs and talent attraction. This week, from the 16th to the 18th of April, SMW will also be holding a trade exhibition, Expo at SMW. It will showcase state-of-the-art technologies and the latest offerings when it comes to solutions and services to support the industry's transformation and sustainability journey. The exhibition will be divided into rather few thematic zones, and it will offer you a comprehensive overview on the exciting developments within the industry. Before I continue, allow me to thank our sponsors that made SMW 2024 possible. So if you could do so with a warm round of applause, please join me in thanking our gold sponsors, Advario, PSA, our silver sponsors, DNV, Envision Energy, Kongsberg, Lloyd's Register, Pacific International Lines, Vopak Terminals. Our bronze sponsors, AET Tankers, CMA CGM, our exclusive lanyard sponsor, Bureau Veritas, and our conference tea break sponsor, Enterprise Estonia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's kick off Singapore Maritime Week, shall we? It now brings me great pleasure to be inviting our guest of honor up on stage, Minister for Transport and Second Minister for Finance, Minister Chee Hong Tat, up on stage for his welcome address. Minister Chee, please.
Excellencies, sisters and brothers from the labor movement, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the 18th Singapore Maritime Week. Our international environment has become more challenging, and this has affected global trade and connectivity. Geopolitical conflicts, including rising tensions in the Middle East, pose a threat to international flights and supply chains. We are also grappling with changes in business models and technology, as well as new developments in emerging areas like digitalization and decarbonization. Through these ups and downs, I'm happy to report that Maritime Singapore has maintained its position as a leading hub port and international maritime center. First, by serving the needs of vessels and crew that call at our port. And second, by building a vibrant maritime ecosystem with good connectivity, trusted reliability, and strong capabilities for the future. As a hub port connecting Asia with the rest of the world, Maritime Singapore has grown from strength to strength. 2023 was a record-breaking year for our hub port. Annual vessel arrival tonnage sailed past 3 billion gross tonnage for the first time, increasing by 9.4% over 2022. Singapore's container throughput reached a new high of 39 million 20-foot equivalent units, or TEUs, an increase of 4.6% compared to 2022, and surpassing the previous record of 37.6 million TEUs in 2021. In 2024, the Singapore Registry of Ships also passed the 1 million gross tonnage mark. During the COVID-19 pandemic, ship owners and operators who encountered route disruptions and schedule delays knew that they could count on Singapore as a reliable catch-up port. This remains one of our value propositions when global supply chains are affected by prolonged conflicts or one-off incidents. Our port has continued its growth momentum in 2024. In the first quarter of this year, vessel arrival tonnage increased by 7.3% compared to the same period in 2023. Singapore's container throughput grew 10.7% year-on-year, continuing the strong performance in 2023 to reach almost 10 million TEUs. We will continue to invest in raising our port efficiency and competitiveness. And when it comes to productivity, our motto is to strive for continuous improvement. I don't know whether some members of the audience from Singapore will remember this jingle that we used to have for the productivity movement. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Make your good better and your better best. Singapore introduced just-in-time planning and coordination platform last year, which provides incoming vessels with their estimated time of berthing, allowing vessel owners to plan their journeys more efficiently to reduce costs, to lower carbon emissions, and to shorten waiting times. So this is good for business, and it is also good for the environment. We are planning decades ahead, and we have started building Tuas Port in the western part of Singapore. Construction of the port is progressing steadily, with 8 berths in operation today and 3 additional berths to commence operations by end of this year. When fully completed in the 2040s, Tuas Port will be the world's largest automated container terminal with a handling capacity of 65 million TEUs. Singapore is also collaborating with like-minded ports and partners in the maritime ecosystem to prepare for decarbonization and to advance our digitalization efforts. MPA has thus far established 5 green and digital shipping corridors, or we call GDSCs, with the Port of Rotterdam, the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the Port of Tianjin in China, 6 ports in Japan, and most recently with Australia just last month. We aim to establish additional GDSCs in 2024 to add to this global network. These partnerships have started to bear fruit. The GDSC that we signed with Rotterdam will be implementing net zero and digital pilots in the coming year. Our partners under the GDSC with Los Angeles and Long Beach, which was set up last year during the Singapore Maritime Week, will be publishing a baseline study on the future demand for zero and near zero emission fuels along the shipping route later this week. So these projects demonstrate the unwavering conviction from Maritime Singapore and our partners to collaborate and invest in our shared future. Singapore also continues to expand as a leading international maritime center. With more than 180 international shipping groups that are based here, and a vibrant ecosystem of leading shipbroking firms, legal practices, and financial institutions. Vitol, a global energy trading firm, has consolidated all its shipping activities under the auspices of Vitol International Shipping in Singapore since the start of 2024. With the expansion, Vitol International Shipping will operate more than 100 vessels globally and facilitate the safe and efficient movement of energy products around the world. Japanese shipping company Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, or MOL, has been growing its business presence in Singapore through the expansion of ship-owning operations in MOL Energia, the setup of MOL LNG Ship Management in Singapore, and the acquisition of Fairfield Chemical Carriers by MOL Chemical Tankers. We also welcome the collaboration between MOL and one of our homegrown companies, Pyxis Maritime, to develop their electric hovercraft business in Singapore. Last month, MRN Energy Solutions, one of the world's leading global engine makers, opened their largest service hub outside Europe here in Singapore. The 20 million euro, 9,000 square meter facility will provide round-the-clock access to technical services such as repair and maintenance, as well as provide training for seafarers. Singapore has retained our position as the world's top maritime center in the Tsinghua Baltic International Shipping Center Development Index for the past 10 years, most recently in 2023, as well as in the past 5 iterations of the leading maritime cities of the world report by DNV and Menon Economics from 2012 to 2022. I thank our industry partners for their trust in and support for Maritime Singapore. Our achievements are due to your vote of confidence in Singapore, as well as a strong tripartite relationship between our businesses, workers, and the government. These have enabled Maritime Singapore to achieve good connectivity to the world and provide a diverse range of maritime services and allows us to translate our ambitions into concrete actions and outcomes for our companies and our workers. Looking ahead, we expect some turbulence along the way, but we are confident that the global maritime industry will continue to grow. And Singapore, as a hub port and international maritime center, can benefit from this growth and the opportunities it brings, including in emerging areas like digitalization and decarbonization. But we must not rest on our laurels or make the mistake of thinking that these positive outcomes will happen autopilot. A rising tide can indeed lift all boats, but the boat and its crew can only benefit if they are well prepared when the water level rises. We must therefore continue to work hard in improving our productivity and competitiveness, stay relevant to changing requirements so that we are able to meet the needs of our local and international stakeholders, and position Singapore as a keynote for talent, ideas, and capital to come together and create new solutions for the world. Our target is to grow Maritime Singapore as a global hub for 3 important areas that we believe will serve the current and future needs of our industry stakeholders and allow Singapore to contribute to global development and sustainability goals. First, as a hub for maritime innovation. Second, as a hub for reliable and resilient maritime operations. Third, as a hub for maritime talent development. First, a global hub for maritime innovation. As the world's largest transshipment hub port and a thriving international maritime center, Singapore can provide a useful test bed and a living laboratory to those seeking to trial innovative maritime solutions in a realistic operating environment. So we have set up various regulatory sandboxes to facilitate these pilots, and we are prepared to do more with industry partners in this area. And because we are known to be thorough and have rigorous standards on safety and reliability, a solution which can pass regulatory scrutiny in Singapore will allow the company to have a useful reference when they bring their solutions to other markets. Our earlier work on introducing a regulatory sandbox for maritime drones is a good example. You saw some footages of this in the video earlier. And we have seen good applications of this technology during COVID-19 pandemic. So we are now planning how we can scale up the deployment and usage of maritime drones in tandem with full 5G connectivity coverage in our port waters by the middle of next year. Another area is innovation in vessel design. For example, MPA is collaborating with ST Engineering AirX, a joint venture with Palooka in its trials of the Airfish wing-in-ground craft in Singapore. AirX's Airfish 8 prototypes operates just above the sea's surface. The 2-seater Airfish 3 prototype will be on display at the expo at SMW. These sea trials are the first step in developing such technology for use in maritime transportation and logistics services. We also work with industry leaders to support our sector's digital transformation and green transition. For example, MPA is developing a maritime, artificial, and machine learning digital hub with Amazon Web Services, the first of its kind in the region. The digital hub will provide opportunities to pilot new and generative AI capabilities for the maritime sector, such as route and fuel optimization and carbon emissions accounting. Instead of building this capability on our own, we think it is quicker and better to work with a leading company like Amazon Web Services. MOT and our statutory boards will adopt this same approach in other domains and with other industry players to borrow their strength and amplify our efforts. We recognize that industry players, our industry partners, both big and small, can play a key role in contributing to innovation. But we also know that many startups face challenges in their initial years, including in the maritime industry where scalability is a key success factor. And so this is why MPA has been working with the National University of Singapore since 2018 to grow our maritime innovation ecosystem through the Pier 71 initiative. And this has nurtured close to 110 maritime technology or marine tech startups with the support of 62 corporate partners. To date, the participating startups have raised over 65 million in investments from venture capitalists, which actually has surpassed our target of 25 million by 2025. So this progress is encouraging, but we know we still have some way to go to meet our target, which is to have 150 startups that can support the global maritime community by 2025. So we do want to give ourselves and our colleagues a pat on the back for the good progress thus far, but we know more effort is still required. This is work in progress. So there will be many other areas where we can develop our innovation capabilities together with local and overseas partners so that Singapore can continue to grow a supportive ecosystem as a global hub for maritime innovation. Next, we aim for Singapore to be a global hub for reliable and resilient maritime operations. So we experienced during COVID-19 pandemic, disruptions in port operations elsewhere can affect global supply chains, and as a result, many shipping lines turn to Singapore as a trusted and reliable catch-up port. So we want to build on this strength and further enhance our connectivity and reliability for industry stakeholders. As we digitalize the maritime sector, one area to enhance is cybersecurity. MPA has worked closely with the Singapore Shipping Association and the industry through the Maritime Cybersecurity Roundtable to strengthen the cybersecurity capabilities and resilience of our sector. The Roundtable is developing tools to help ship owners and operators determine the cybersecurity maturity level of their fleet operations so that they are aware of any gaps and how to better protect themselves. It is also exploring initiatives to further develop the cybersecurity capabilities of our maritime workforce. To strengthen vessel navigational safety and efficiency of our hub port, MPA is developing an AI-enabled next-generation vessel traffic management system. The system will identify traffic hotspots in our port waters and predict collisions using data analytics and machine learning, enabling our vessel traffic officers to handle higher vessel volumes safely. As international shipping looks to alternative fuels to meet our global decarbonization targets, Singapore has moved decisively to ensure energy and fuel resilience. We are preparing our port for a multi-fuel future. Our industry has brought in new bunker tankers capable of bunkering higher blends of biofuel and methanol, paving the way for greater emission reductions for vessels. MPA has also issued expressions of interest for the alternative fuels, ammonia and methanol, over the past year. For our ammonia EOI, we have shortlisted 6 consortiums, and we are studying their comprehensive proposals for the supply of ammonia for bunkering and power generation in Singapore. Reliability and resilience also mean that we uphold the highest standards for safety, efficiency, and quality. Enterprise Singapore, through the Singapore Standards Council, has been working closely with industry partners to introduce national standards to support the digitalization of bunkering supply chain documentation, as well as on methanol and ammonia bunkering. As a major maritime and bunkering hub, Singapore is committed to continue serving as a trusted node for international shipping. The third and final area I want to cover is we aspire to be a global hub for maritime development in Singapore. Our strong tripartite partnership between government, employers, and unions is critical to prepare our workforce for the future. We believe that a good job is the best welfare for our workers, and the best way to help our people secure lifelong employability is through lifelong learning and skills upgrading. MPA and our tripartite partners established a tripartite advisory panel in 2022 to look at how we can equip our workforce with future-ready skills and sustain a steady talent pipeline for maritime Singapore. And as we decarbonize our industry, we must bring our workers along this journey and ensure that they know how to handle the alternative fuels safely and effectively. So one of the tripartite advisory panel's recommendations was for Singapore to invest in shared maritime training facilities for these fuels and the vessels they power, a proposal which I fully support. MPA will establish the Maritime Energy Training Facility, METF, which is a collaboration between 23 stakeholders spanning major marine engine manufacturers, international organizations, classification societies, trade associations, unions, and the institutes of higher learning. With the METF, we are one step closer to achieving our vision for Singapore to be the maritime training hub for the region. Seafarers and other maritime personnel can acquire the necessary skills for safe handling, bunkering, and incident management of alternative fuels and low or zero emission vessels. METF will work closely with the industry and our unions to develop training curricula and infrastructure that will be useful to both workers and companies. It will comprise a network of training facilities such as the Singapore Maritime Academy's integrated engine room and bridge simulator, and a new dual-fuel marine engine simulator. We expect around 10,000 seafarers and other maritime personnel to be trained at METF from now to the 2030s, as we progressively develop our training facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the twin challenges of digitalization and decarbonization faced by the maritime industry cannot be tackled effectively by any single country or company alone. I'm therefore heartened to see the strong support from our partners across international organizations and governments, as well as from our tripartite partners from the industry and unions. We welcome the opportunity to share our ideas and further our collaborations with all of you. Our journey ahead will include voyages through some uncharted waters. This may sound rather intimidating, but it is no different from what seafarers and explorers faced in the past, where they sailed into the open seas. Some of our expeditions may fail, though we hope not to lose any ships or crew to the Kraken or sirens. The key is to have the same spirit of adventure and perseverance as our forefathers, as one cannot make any new discoveries without experiencing some failures and setbacks along the way. And importantly, we need to find the right partners who share the same vision and are willing to shoulder the risks with us. Together, we can support one another as we embark on this exciting journey and let our dreams set sail. I wish everyone a fruitful and enlightening week ahead. And to our friends from overseas, I hope you have some time to also enjoy the sights and the food of Singapore. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Chi. If you could kindly remain on stage, please, for the launch of the 18th edition of Singapore Maritime Week. At this point, I'd also like to invite our VIPs on stage, please. With a warm round of applause, please join me in welcoming Dr. Amy Khor, Senior Minister of State for Transport and Senior Minister of State of Sustainability and the Environment of Singapore. Mr. Low Nai Singh, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transport. Mr. Ngiam Chiang Ming, Chairman, Maritime Port Authority of Singapore. Mr. Teo Eng Dee, Chief Executive, Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore. Mr. Ho Wing Yu, Chairman, Singapore Maritime Foundation. Ms. Caroline Yang, President, Singapore Shipping Association. And last but certainly not the least, Mr. Simon Quick, President, Association of Singapore Marine Industries. Ladies and gentlemen, on my countdown, I invite you to place one palm onto the launch orbs behind you. And to our audience, let's count down together, shall we? I believe we're all set. Photographers have taken their photos. Let's count down together. Let's do this in 3, 2, 1. Palms on the launch orbs. Congratulations on the launch of Singapore Maritime Week. Congratulations on the launch of your 18th edition. I would like to invite our VIPs on stage to move forward to the center of the stage for a group photo, please. Thank you. Big smiles for the cameras before you. Fantastic. And to everybody, if you are not taking photos, please join me in thanking everybody with a warm round of applause as we officially kicked off Singapore Maritime Week 2024. A big thumbs up, fantastic, a good start to a fruitful week. I would like to invite our VIPs to remain on stage, please, as we would like to invite our union representatives up on stage. These unions play a critical role in addressing the needs of our officers and seafarers and recognizing the tireless efforts of our frontliners and maintaining the smooth functioning of our supply chain. With a warm round of applause, please join me in welcoming Mr. Kam Soon Huat, President, Singapore Organization of Seamen. Mr. Benjamin Tang, President, Port Officers Union. Mr. Arasu Duraisamy, President, Singapore Port Workers Union. Mr. Rahim Jafar, President, Singapore Maritime Officers Union. Mr. Melvin Yong, Executive Secretary, National Transport Workers Union. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us on stage. If I could invite all of you for a big photo for our photographers down the center. All right, just a couple more. It's so beautiful to see everybody in the room together. It's the whole maritime industry. A big thumbs up. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to invite Minister Chi, CEMPA, President SSA, and the union reps to please stay on stage for our next segment. For the next segment of the program, we will be commemorating the signing of the Letter of Intent on the development of the Maritime Energy Training Facility, or METF. Ladies and gentlemen, with the maritime sector transitioning to be more digital and using net zero fuels, this LOI brings together 23 partners, global marine engine makers, classification societies, trade associations, local and international unions, and training workers to work with MPA to develop a network of maritime energy training facilities. This is aimed at training seafarers and maritime professionals to safely work on board new vessels, such as those using electrification, methanol, and ammonia-fueled vessels, building local expertise in marine technologies, and developing emergency response plans and mitigation measures. May we now invite Mr. Arsenio Dominguez, Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, to please join us on stage as we welcome the other signatories. Firstly, the unions. May I invite International Transport Federation, ITF, United Workers of Petroleum Industry, UWPI, to join us on stage with the other unions, please. The unions will support a global training framework and promote activities of METF to participating members. Secondly, the class societies, American Bureau of Shipping, ABS, and Lloyd's Register, LR, as well as the International Association of Classification Societies, IACS. ABS and LR will invest in heightening competencies for safe management of zero or near zero fuels and expand R&D and training in Singapore. IACS will contribute to the development of maritime training requirements. Thirdly, the training service providers, Singapore Polytechnic, SP, Wavelink Maritime Institute, WMI, and Fortescue. SP and WMI will develop a training syllabus for handling zero and near zero fuels and technologies, while Fortescue will conduct courses for shore personnel in these areas. Fourthly, the local and international industry associations, Baltic and International Maritime Council, BIMCO, International Chamber of Shipping, ICS, International Maritime Employers Council, IMEC, to join the Singapore Shipping Association on stage. ICS will collaborate with METF along with other stakeholders of the Maritime Just Transition Task Force and support studies on gap analysis and work together with BIMCO, IMEC, and SSA to promote the respective courses to their members to facilitate participation in training requirements associated with ships using zero and near zero emissions. Last but not the least, the global marine engine makers, Hyundai, IHI, MAN Energy Solutions, Wärtsilä, Winterthur Gas and Diesel, and also fuel cell developer Amogy. These parties have expertise in developing marine engines that can run on alternative fuels such as biofuels, methanol, and ammonia. This will help seafarers to gain the relevant knowledge in operating vessels running these new engines and is expected to benefit more than 10,000 seafarers as the new vessels are progressively delivered by the 2030s. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all 23 partners on stage. Please give all of them a warm round of applause as we commemorate the signing of the letter of intent on the development of the Maritime Energy Training Facility. Thank you so much for joining us for this milestone. I believe we are going to just get a couple more pictures. It is such a great opportunity to have everyone on stage coming together for the development of the Maritime Energy Training Facility, METF. Lots to look forward to. And may this be the beginning of many discussions and lots of collaborations between all the partners in the room. Just a couple of moments, we would like to make sure we get all our official photos. This is indeed a milestone and a moment for us to take in. One more time, please, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate this collaboration with a warm round of applause. Thank you. A big thumbs up, too. Thank you. I would like to invite everyone on stage to return to their seats. Thank you very much.